you play the game with the people that writing the rules. Ain't the fame that I'm after when paying the dues. I've been through the pain that's reflected in the attitude. Might be winning now, but the thing is that I had to lose. So go and tell me what you really wanna do. And lonely at the top, cause there ain't a lot of room. Ain't no other option, that's all I ever knew. So I'ma get it poppin', you know how I'ma do. I've been down through the blood and the sweat. Guarantee you can know I'm a threat. I've been down through the blood and the sweat. And I ain't close to being done yet, I'm going all in. Yeah, I'm going all in. Yeah, and I ain't close to being done yet, I'm going all in. Yeah, they know I'm going all in.
All right. Let's see here. Raphael says I'm muted, so I took off the mute. Hopefully that took care of the problem. So we took it off just in time for our special guest. It's okay if we messed up, or I messed up with you guys, but don't want to mess up with our guys. Boy, our special guest tonight, our boy Wayne Breezie. What's up, brother?
What's going on, fellas? Listen, here's the funny thing, right? Like, people don't realize the production part. I just had this conversation, I think with Mike earlier on the show. They don't realize how much or Sterling. They don't realize how much goes into the production part. How nervous we be making sure
Yeah.
right buttons, and then we got to explain ourselves, and then we just blame it on technology, yo. But hey,
Yeah.
it's good to be here,
Sure.
fellas.
I appreciate, yeah, bro. Yeah, you got to press all these buttons. Sometimes you press the wrong one, and so when I did the intro, I forgot because I just created that intro because we didn't have one, so I added it on, and I forgot to take off the mute after it to set it automatically to be taken off. And I happened to look at the comments, and Raphael says, "Can't hear you." I'm like, "Oh crap!" It's all.
Yeah, they'll let us know, and that's a good thing, man. Shout out
Yes.
to the
As long as
that's watching. You know.
as long as they
Shout
can
out
hear
to
us
them.
now.
Can
Yeah,
everybody hear
exactly.
everybody tonight? You're on. Let's see. Let's see here. Give me a sec. Here we are all working. All right. Can you guys hear all of us?
Yeah, it sounds like everybody can hear us now. I got my Instagram live going as well, and they say yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. So, gentlemen, it's the off season. Little bit before the draft, we just went through and going through free agency. We brought in some players, not of those big name players that a lot of people wanted. We didn't get a Javon Hargrave type of player, according to many faithful, but we did get some good, solid pieces to the roster, and we lost a few. I want to start with our guest, Wayne. So far, what do you think of the add-ons? And if we can start with Leonard Floyd, what's your thoughts on him, and what do you think he'll bring to the table?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Niners definitely added on some good pieces. With the 22 free agents that they had going out, and with the re-signings and the new free agents that they brought in the trade, I think they got like 16 or 17 new acquisitions to the team. So they're retooling. But to start with Leonard Floyd, because that has to be the biggest signing, the Niners get themselves a pass rusher. And you know what? A lot of people are like, well, he's not a premier pass rusher, this, that, and the third. Well, we have the premier pass rusher. Now we're looking for that person that can be the perfect complement to the premier pass rusher. And so when you look at Leonard Floyd, you say, what are you going to get? Well, the first thing you're going to get is consistency. One thing he likes to do, he knows how to get to the quarterback. And the second thing you're going to get from him is effort, right? Like high effort, right? He's not beating these guys one-on-ones. He just doesn't give up on the plays like a gnat, and he's going to find a way to get to the quarterback, find a way to make those tackles for losses and things like that. And the crazy thing is when you look at the way he was utilized in Buffalo last season, it's like they didn't even use him much, and he still produced 10.5 sacks. So imagine playing less than 50% or just at the 50% mark of the snaps on the season, and you still record 10.5 sacks. So I think the Niners are going to get them someone that can finish a play. And I think that's where they were struggling with last year, man. Listen, the pressures were there. We were up on the pressures, but we weren't finishing. And so I think the Niners got a really good, in my opinion, a premier pass rusher. I'm not comparing him to a guy like D Ford or a guy like Hassan Reddick, but you know what? When you get one of those type of defensive ends or outside linebackers, depending on which formation he's playing in, whether it's 3-4-4-3, however he chooses to line up, you're going to get some speed. And I think the Niners could use some speed out there on the edge, and this could be a good person. No one's talking about Robert Bill Jr. This could be a good person who Robert Bill looks up to and models his game after playing next to a guy and learning from a guy like Leonard Floyd. So the Niners do their due diligence. They bring in the right veterans to help push up the right prospects that we already have on the team. So I really do like the signing of Leonard Floyd.
Yeah. So do I, man. I think this guy's going to bring a little bit of speed, kind of something we missed from the day of D4 before he got injured. I think he's going to bring that assistance to Bosa. I'm excited to see what he does this year. Pete, the departure of Mr. number 91, Eric Armstead, now a Jaguar. What's your thoughts on that, my friend?
I mean, parting is such sweet sorrow. The man has given the 49ers his all for, he had been a really reliable piece for a while. And then he went through a string of injuries, had a really tough time with his feet, and that plantar fasciitis is no joke. Any of us old folks know how that goes. But the reality is he's missed a lot of games the last couple of seasons, and it wasn't surprising to me that they tried to move off of him. I was surprised that it was this season because of the caponomics, but I mean, it is what it is. They chose to take the hit this year and focus on getting Ayuk, just to free up enough space to sign Ayuk and make their other free agent acquisitions, as well as sign their rookie class. They got a lot of picks. Who knows if they're going to use all of them, but you know how it is. But I think we're all going to miss the heart of Eric Armstead. He's huge in the community, all that stuff. And he was obviously a great teammate. His team, the roster just loved him. So obviously they're going to miss him, but at the same time, everybody knows we all got to move on at some point. So it is what it is.
Exactly. And Brandon, we brought in a cat, Collins, I believe his last name, from Houston, to kind of take over Eric Armstead's spot. Have you done any little homework on him since we picked him up in free agency? What are your thoughts on him replacing Mr. 91?
I have not done a little homework on him yet. Been busy with work, but I hear that he's actually a pretty good guy, especially on the inside. I heard he's he's pretty good in the run game as well. So be on the lookout for that, because during last season, especially during the playoffs, we were struggling in our run defense. So this should be a plus and a factor for our run defense to get help right there, especially in the interior. So I'm excited to see that for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm fired up as well. Hopefully between him and Jordan Elliott that we brought in, for what I've heard of him, he's very good against the run. I think he was number 6, if I'm not mistaken, in the run rate. So we'll see what we can do with him. I know one of the areas we were getting gashed last year was in the run, so hopefully he can bring that extra element of stopping the run and help us do what we do best on defense. Mr. Wayne Breezie, I've been watching your show for a long time, my friend. You are amazing. You know your football. You're very knowledgeable of the Niners. After all the draft, after all the free agents that we already signed, which other position do you think, from your perspective, that the Niners need to look at and bringing in before we move on to the draft?
Yeah, I know a lot of people won't be, and thank you for those kind words and those compliments. A lot of people, a lot of faithful feel like this isn't a position that they need to address in free agency. But I still think that since the Niners have some money, I wouldn't mind them going out there getting a safety. And the reason why I'm saying that is you got Jair Brown going into his second year, and you got Hufanga, who's coming off of his ACL injury, entering the last year of his contract, and so you don't know how that's going to return. And then when you look at who you lost your two vets. All right, you're losing Logan Ryan in free agency, and you're losing Tashawn Gibson in free agency, and so I think that that's what the Niners are going to do. They're going to wait, and they're going to test out. They'll probably hit the draft. They'll probably draft the guy. But I think when you start to see these veterans still lingering around in free agency, I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Simmons gets a call and they see what type of numbers they're working on. I mean, if there's a safety that you want on the San Francisco 49ers, it's Simmons. This doesn't change the play or the mindset of Hufanga and Brown, the young guys. But if you go out and get a guy like Simmons, it can change the way our defensive coordinator Nick Sorensen kind of utilizes players. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see big nickel. Now you got three safeties on the field. You could drop Hufanga into the box as a linebacker. You can use Jair in the box as a safety. And now you got your center fielder back there playing safety. And there's no one in this game other Justin Simmons is a really good center field type of a safety who's still playing really high quality football. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go out there and they give him a call. But there's other guys available, other vets. But safety is a position I think they should still address in free agency, as well as tight end. And when you look at the tight ends, I feel like Ross Dwelly gets the call. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's the Juwan Jennings of the tight ends for the San Francisco 49ers. They kept him around. Now he's tenured as far as like the amount of snaps he's played, the games he's started. I think they bring him back on a 1-year deal. And now you got your three veteran safeties. No one's talking about Jake Tongas and stuff like that. But now you have your veterans, and only two of them will probably make it. And then you're kind of going to see what these young guys do. Cameron Latu's coming off the ACL injury as well. And so now you got to just see how the tight end room, but that room needs to be upgraded at least to help out George Kittle. You're losing a great blocker in Charlie Warner, who's now at the Atlanta Falcons. And so now you're saying, well, which one of these guys are going to be the good blocking tight end or whatever? So they might go a different route. I think I would like to see a lot of 12 personnel out there on the football field, 2 tight end sets. So we'll see. But tight end and safety are the 2 positions I think that they still will address in free agency.
I like it. On the tight end note, what do you think about the 2 guys that we picked up last year? I know we haven't seen much of Mr. Drop the Ball, can't catch it and hold it. The 2, do you think he still has a chance to prove something this year?
You cold. But you know what? He ended up getting injured. They put him on season-ending IR. He didn't even, make the roster because of the injury, okay, because of how things work out. Braden Willis was the one that got the bright spot. He ended up being making the roster, and he was actually utilized minimally in games, right? Like, so I don't know if these guys are going to progress into what Kyle Shanahan is looking for, but we'll see. But I there's some tight ends in this draft, and that's why I say you bring back Dwelly. I don't think Dwelly jeopardizes any of the young guns from developing. Then you bring in a dog, you bring in another tight end, and you make these guys come out here and have to really push to earn their spot. And so we'll see what Latu can do. Like, we're rooting for him. He did drop the ball a lot, so you're 100% correct. But toward the end of that preseason, he started catching the ball. They had one game with a couple of catches. So Is he going to return from the injury healthy, good to go? We don't know, but they're there. Just same thing you could talk about defensively with the linebackers. D. Winters was the guy that got the call last year. Graham wasn't. What's going to happen this year? We don't know. So we got to see what happens in camp and OTAs and how they come in, and how much they've learned and progressed. But this is a business. This is you got to go out there and get the best players and make sure the best players are available and ready to go week in and week out.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Brandon, you got a
Beto,
question?
yeah, I have a question real quick. Breezy, I'm gonna ask you this question. I know we've been asking you a lot already, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this because you've been doing this a lot longer than any of us have and everything like that. But I kind of saw the other day that Mooney Ward was talking about the cornerback.
Davies, like
Tre'Davious
There he
White.
is,
Yeah.
White. I wanted to get your thoughts on that, and could that be a possible signing that the Niners could do? Maybe.
I mean, I want the faithful to realize that the Niners love veterans.
Yeah.
And they like the ones that they kind of go after the ones where it might be over with them. But look, if the Niners were willing to bring back a guy like Jason Verrett and give him multiple opportunities, I don't see them not trying to give a guy like Tre'Davious White an opportunity. Now the issue is this: how much the Niners willing to pay? And so then
Yeah,
Tre'Davious
exactly.
White is like, well, I ain't playing for $2, but and so that's where the issue comes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because listen, Tre'Davious White, when healthy, is a top 5 cornerback in the league. Top 10, if you want. Top, easy peasy, top guy. And so that's when healthy, though. He's coming off of 2 injuries. The Niners are going to use that to their favor. Listen, man, you coming off of ACL, then your Achilles, or Achilles and ACL. I don't remember which the order, but you're coming off 2 injuries back to back. You're getting a little older. But listen, he comes in, he plays the Richard Sherman role like right away. Like he ain't got to do too much moving, laterally and all that type of stuff. He ain't got to do all that. He just got to make sure keep his man in front of him and bada boom, bada bing. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners don't entertain it. But the question is, does he want to play for the Niners? And if he does, is he willing to play for $2.50? Like that's the question. That's going to be tough. And I like what Mooney Ward is doing. I like he's recruiting. And when do you hear
Yeah.
other cornerbacks, guys, recruit other cornerbacks? Like that's crazy.
Not
I
often.
think that's kind of crazy, especially a cornerback that could possibly take your job. So for Mooney, he's super confident. He's about that competition, and I like it.
Yeah. Thank you
Go
for
ahead,
that.
Brandon. I'm doing all the background work. You go ahead and take the mic.
All right. Okay, so here's another question. I'm gonna go to you, Pete, for this one, and then we'll go to Beto, and then we'll ask Breezy last. So past couple days, maybe I think it's only been 2. We've been seeing a lot of the rumors and stuff, even though I don't think this is ever true at all. But the whole Brandon Ayuk possibly getting traded to the Steelers, and then we also had the Jaguars rumors as well. What was your guys' thoughts on that, and why is this kind of like coming out of nowhere, even though we know that Brandon Ayuk still has another year on his rookie contract, and we know for damn sure that the Niners are going to re-sign him. We know how this works and everything, but Pete, let me get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, you just answered your own question.
That's true.
Like,
That's true.
I mean,
I
the
wanted
reality
to get
is
your
this.
thought process when you saw it.
Yeah, the reality is this. He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Pete.
this is the thing that we go through every single off season. And we know as Niner fans that we just got to wait till right before training camp or right in training camp till our guys get signed. And that's just the way it goes. Niner fans need to, I mean, you may not like it, but just learn to love it. That's the way it goes. We go and keep our guy. We go and keep our guy. That's the Niners have shown that they are going to take care of their guys. I saw them even try to bring up old news in like what was I mean, it's so old I forgot dude's name. Like the defensive tackle we lost back in 2020.
DeForest Buckner.
Yeah, DeForest Buckner. So
Yeah,
like they tried to bring up DeForest Buckner from 4 or 5 years ago. Like that's old news. The 49ers take care of their people. And they are going, I think that Ayuk is going to be the guy going forward. I think that he is the best guy for for Brock Purdy. I feel, and that's my opinion on it. But I mean, it's not this year that we should be looking for trades. I think it's going to be next year. And unfortunately, like, I mean, it might not happen, but I mean, I think we're all looking at Debo a little sideways sometimes. And that might be an issue next year, but I don't see anything happening this year. I think it's going to be the same thing as when Debo was trying to get his deal. We're probably going to hear some ratchet news from his agent, but I mean, he's probably going to leak some stuff, but that's going to be it. It's just going to be like we're just going to have to wait till training camp.
Yep. We go through this mostly every offseason when there's a big player that is contracts coming up and we have to extend, and a lot of the Niner faithful get worried and they get upset and they get scared, and the trade talks start talking, and the player wants to be traded, and this. We know the receivers, for whatever reason, they love to be divas more than any other positions. The Niners have shown in history that if they love a player and they covet that player, they will do whatever it takes to get them signed. They done it with Kittle. They did it with Fred Warner. They did it with Debo. Debo was out the door. Debo was moving towards Carolina, and because he's closer to home, and oh my God, what's going to happen? And everybody was attentive at the draft because they thought we were going to, and we signed him. Bosa, biggest contract in history of the San Francisco 49ers since they came into the NFL, given out to Bosa, and they took care of that. Took a little longer than we wanted to, but he started week 1 of the 2023 season. Brandon Ayuk is going to be no different. The Niners love him. They drafted him. He's their pick. They develop him. They love his skill set. They love what they bring. They're going to get it done. But it's traditional with the Niners. They don't do anything till early August or late August. So if you're expecting the contract to be extended before August, you're just going to drive yourself nuts. It happens with every big contract. It takes place in August. Be patient. If the season starts and he's not signed, then you can turn on your alarm bells and whatever it is that you have. But until then, relax, chill. The Niners have showed it plenty with history that they sign those players they love.
I think for me, what makes it a little nerve-wracking is a couple things.
Okay.
Right? And I got to play devil advocate here because we're talking about a football player that wants to play football, that wants the football, and not one of y'all mentioned that. And I don't know. Something about that Super Bowl and that exit interview, and something ain't sitting right with me. And so I don't know if Brandon Ayuk wants to be here. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't, but from that exit interview, his body language, the tears, it was just weird, right? And we've seen wide receivers cry, we see Debo cry, we've seen it, but not at an interview. And something wasn't right. And I felt like for the first time, like Kyle Shanahan, Brandon Ayuk, like that, they just weren't on the same page. So I'm a little curious because of those antics and what got put out very early about him not wanting to be here. I'm wondering if that starts to creep back up. Now, I agree with you. The Niners handle the stuff the way that they handle the stuff, and it's that August. But I'm hoping that they don't wait, because it's only for the 49ers, it's only going to get worse as far as what they're going to have to pay him. Because when you look at Brandon Ayuk and you say to yourself, is he a top 5 receiver in the NFL? And some might say no. Some may say he's not. And that's fine. But that's not what his stats say. His stat says he's back-to-back 1,000-yard guy, and this is going to be his first contract, and he's going to get paid a top-tier amount of money. And don't look at the big number. Look at the guaranteed number. Debo's $56.3 million guaranteed. And if Brandon Ayuk is the top number 1 wide receiver, first round pick, that number's got to exceed 56. And so I'm thinking Ayuk is going to be in that almost 57 to 60 guaranteed. And now I don't know if the Niners want to do that. Like, all right, you got a bunch of money guaranteed to Debo for the next couple of years, and now you're trying to guarantee this big sum of money to 2 wide receivers. I just don't see teams typically doing that. I'm not saying that the Niners won't. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, just giving you like the figures and things like that. Because I know, hear me out. I know he wants to make more than 41 million. That's what you call it just got over in
Jerry
Cleveland.
Judy, yeah.
Yep, that's what he got guaranteed. And I know he wants to make more than 50 million, and that's what the dude from the Jags that just got signed, Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
That's getting.
Yeah.
And his own teammates getting 56. So it's gonna make it difficult, but I don't think the Niners are going to trade him unless they really just get blown away from an offer. So we gotta keep it open. Like I don't think these things we're hearing are rumors. We got to stop calling them rumors. These aren't rumors. These are probably true. These are true stories. Like teams are calling. Teams always call the 49ers. Hey, man, what you want for that dude? Like it's a call. It's a phone call. Teams are going to be interested in players from the 49ers in the discussion. I'm sure they're calling, hey, man, you want to trade Christian McCaffrey? Man, he had a really good year, but I'll give you bang, bang, bang. I'm not saying anyone's untouchable or things like that. I'm just saying they're going to call the 49ers. So I don't think these things we're hearing, the Jags, the 17th pick, and the Niners asked for the 17th pick, and Zay Jones, I believe, was the wide receiver. Like the Niners want a nice return for a guy like Brandon Ayuk. And so that's the business part. And I think a lot of us just don't want to know like what the business side is like. But you got to think of your future. And when you look at Brandon Ayuk, you ask yourself, are we going to pay 2 wide receivers that much in guaranteed money? And that's tough. And so do I think that the Niners get it done? Yes. Like I think that that's something that they want to do. But if a team comes and tries and offers John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan a crazy offer, they might look at it and be like, hey man, we can address this and get a receiver and give him time to develop. Like, so I don't know. I'm hoping Brandon stays. I don't want him to go anywhere. Technically, he's under contract for the 5th year, like you said, and the Niners own his rights even after that because they can franchise tag his behind the next year, and that would be all hell breaking. So I think John Lynch wants to try to avoid all of that. And he wants to get this contract extension done. But the longer they wait, fellas, the harder it's going to be. And so I'm hoping they change that this year because T. Higgins got to get paid. He might be the only other one. And so that's where it's going to come down to, man. These guys getting – excuse me. I take that back. Think about Jay Jettas and those guys. They're looking for their extensions. They better do it before those guys get extended because if not, the Niners will be paying out the wazoo for Brandon Ayuk.
I think just what you just said about as far as they're going to have to blow their socks off with an offer. Just like when Debo was up for his contract, they said it had to be a Godfather type of deal, and that's what we're looking at. And I don't think any team is going to give him that. I just don't see it happening. And like you said, devil's advocate. I could see. We know that they're not rumors. Like I fully believe the 49ers are talking to teams, but like I said, they would have to give so much that I think the 49ers are putting the price so high that I don't think the teams are going to be willing to go there. But I think the 49ers are always listening. If they're willing to knock their socks off with a deal, then I could see it. But yeah, I just think that as soon as they said number 17 and Zay Flower, they were like, okay, well, it was nice talking to you. but like, yeah, we're not going that. We're not crazy.
Yeah, teams are going to make their calls, and you got to do your due diligence. You got to listen. I know some players are not big fan of it. Like some players feel disrespected when teams are listening to other offers, but the team has to see what works for them. They want, and they're looking forward to signing BA, like you said, but you're right. If a team comes up and offers something that blows the Niners out of the sky, they're going to look at it and see, okay, how does this help us in the long run. They want Brandon Ayuk, but we're not going to be able to keep Debo and Ayuk on those high contracts, paying 25 plus for two receivers each. It's a lot of money. People don't realize. And then when you get to Brock Purdy next offseason, things are really going to start getting tight. People think things are tight now. Wait until the quarterback gets paid and he starts getting somewhere around the 52 million per year contract. Then you're really going to see players. You know, some people got upset that Big 91 left this year. Once Brock gets paid, a lot of Niner fans are going to be upset next offseason because it's just the way the financials work. We want to keep the core of our players. We want to keep everybody. It's not Madden, right? It's real football. In Madden, you can bring anybody you want, pay whatever you want, but in real life football, you can't. You got to work the numbers, and you got to see who is the one that helps your team best from the players you have on the roster. So do they bring him back? I think they will. But you're right. You know, other players are going to get paid. Now, let me ask this to Breezie, and everybody can answer as well. Do you think that the Niners are the type of team they're like, this is how much we're going to pay a receiver. This is how much we think your value is. It doesn't matter if Higgins, it doesn't matter if so-and-so gets paid more or not. This is the number that we think you're worth it. If you accept that number, we can work it out. If not, then we can try to trade you. Or do you think the Niners will have they would not, what's the question? The Niners will have to kind of compete with other receivers and pay them the top dollar. What are your thoughts on that, Breezy, on knowing what the Niners do in the front office?
I think it's both, right? I think the Niners do have a number, and I think the first offer is low.
Always.
Never want to start high.
It's business, right?
Yeah.
So expect the Niners to start low and Ayuk's to start high. Like, and they gotta find a common. They gotta find a common ground, right? The same thing happened with Nick Bosa last year. You know, like I guarantee you that. It ended up being something with language, but it really started with the numbers. Like the numbers was like, nah, so the Niners do have a number that they want to pay, but they also got to look at the market, and then they got to look at his production. And like, you know, Brandon Ayuk is going to be like, look, man, I did all of this and I wasn't even fit. Stop. Listen to what he's saying. I'm not even, I'm the fifth option. I'm not even, I'm the best receiver, but I'm still not the option number one. And so like, he's going to probably try to put that in there. Kyle's going to be like, well, you're not even the first option. So you got to, like, it's going to be tough. It's going to be weird. I'm telling you. And that Super Bowl, I know people don't want to put too much into that. I'm telling you, Ayuk is feeling some type of way. Now, maybe he's over it now, which is great. Maybe he's over that. But I'm telling you, he wants the ball. And you got to give him the ball, right? And think about it. Let's say they do it. Let's say they do the deal. They do the deal. He gets paid. And he still don't get the ball. Like, aren't the fans gonna be pissed off because everybody mad at Debo and his production? Like, if Ayuk don't ball out to what his contract says, like that, I'm just saying, like it's a weird situation, but I just think that they just need to go ahead and get the goddamn deal done because there's them young stars, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. They're not blowing Ayuk out of the box, but they're getting paid. They're gonna get paid. And Ayuk is going to if Ayuk feels he's a top dog like one of those, remember those guys are the number one options on their offenses. And Ayuk is like, yo, I could do that too. And that's where the discourse comes in. Right? You gotta pay me like I'm that guy. I don't care if you utilize me or not. That's on you. But I'm that dude. Like that's Ayuk. And so that's why it's tougher. We're more tough than what we think. It's not going to be an easy thing. I'm sure Ayuk wants to play football with the team that drafted him, but he's getting older. He's getting more mature. He's starting to understand the business a little bit more. Like things are different. So I'm all for Brandon Ayuk, and I'm saying that he's returning, and I don't want him to go anywhere. I think this offense will look totally different without a Brandon Ayuk. We haven't had a guy that could run routes, get open like this since T.O. And but what happened to T.O.? I just don't want him gone. But I understand. I'm preparing myself just in case it happens. That way I understand it. I do. I don't want him gone, but I would understand if he's doing it, if he's gone.
I think that we as fans get a little caught up in the player versus the organization, and when it comes to these negotiations, like Breezy said, it's business. And do a majority of these players do the negotiating, or is it their agent that does the negotiating? Their agent is also the agent of usually of multiple other players in the league. So yeah, of course, his agent is going to want him to get a benchmark deal because that drives his price up. And also, but it doesn't always, even though it looks like on paper, oh, they got this astronomical deal, they can usually structure it in a way to where it's a lot of funny money and that they can restructure down the road and still get him paid, and turn it into signing bonuses. So it's not about necessarily what he's guaranteed right now. He's going to get his guaranteed dollar. There's, like you said, Breezy, it's going to be probably over 50 and probably closer to that 56 range. In my mind, it's got to be as much as Debo. But at the same time, I don't think he's going to get what Jetta's getting. I don't
No,
think he's going to get what
no.
Jamar Chase is going to get. I just don't. I think he's going to get kind of in the middle a little bit, just not necessarily because of production, but just because we still haven't seen the top of IU yet. And exactly everything that he can do. And I think some teams don't exactly know everything that IU can do because he hasn't been the number one option. But even not being the number one option, he's getting 1,300 yards and so many touchdowns. So
Sorry
I
about
do
that.
know he's gonna get broke off, but yeah, I still think the 49ers are gonna find a way to get it done. It's gonna look great on when they put it on Twitter. It's gonna look great, and then when we break it down, I got a feeling there's gonna be some void years in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Niners way.
No,
Yep.
well, like what Breezy said too is we don't know if they're gonna want two receivers with big contracts like that. So that brings me to the question to where do we see a Debo trade next season type of thing?
It's a possibility, yo.
Mm,
And for me, I just want this team back so they could run it back. I'm not even looking in 2025, but there is a strong
Oh, yeah.
possibility where it doesn't hit the Niners cap like it would hit
Mm,
it this year. And if they did trade Debo, it would have to be post June 1st, and they still gonna
yeah.
get hit. So, at the end of the day, that's a possibility. But for me, I just want everybody that was here last year that played a role in what they did to get the opportunity to run it back. And I think for me, this is the year of running it back. You know what I mean? And so I just hope that they run it back with the same core. Brandon Ayuk, Debo. That offense just needs to come back and get a different crack at it. I think Brock's going to be that much better. He's understanding these defenses and how they're trying. They can't. I don't think they can trick him much more. I think now he understands that there's aggressive blitzing, there's delayed blitzes, there's disguised blitzes. There's so many. I think now that he's gone through the fire, I think he's going to be that much more better going into 2024. So I just hope that they run it back with that, at least with that same offense. We already know that they done shift and shaped that defense. They getting tough up the middle. Like they are not getting ran on like they did last year. I think that was
no.
first and foremost.
Yeah.
But the offense, I think they need to just bring that offense back. Find a way to extend Brandon Ayuk. Stop bull cripping. Get it done. They should just get it done.
Yeah.
Here's my question. For you, Breezy, is that we talk about Brock learning and developing. Does Kyle develop? And does he figure out a way to develop it and flesh out his drop back game?
Really? It's it's not even about Kyle development. It's about him just letting go and letting take the training wheels off this kid and let him play football. I mean, you got a kid like Brock Purdy. They drafted him. He came in. He blew the doors off this organization. He blew the doors off of his coaches. And you can say they got lucky. I'm cool with that. sometimes luck is good, right? Sometimes it's good to be lucky. And when you look at his rookie year, due to an unfortunate missed block, not a missed block, but a just not, everybody getting beat by Hassan Reddick. But just because of that, like that took out the opportunity of them even getting the Super Bowl that year. But then the next year, he comes in with off of an injury, with no off season, no camp, no nothing, and that team's in the Super Bowl. So I don't know what Kyle needs to do other than to just let his players, especially the quarterback, be him. I think we saw trust, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but I felt like Brock did something and Kyle stopped trusting him. And it was weird because you get to the playoffs, if Brock don't make certain plays, we don't win those games. And then you get to the Super Bowl, and then you just, it's like, do this. Huh? What? What's going on here?
I think Kyle just got tight.
That's my point. Like, I think the trust stopped. I don't know, man. Kyle got some serious issues that he need to work out within himself. Because, being a good leader is also being a good follower and a listener and things like that. And Kyle has to listen. And I'm hoping a guy like Brandon Staley knows the language of Kyle Shanahan. Because Kyle, that checks and balance, that needs to happen. I mean, I watched Mike Shanahan struggle too. And like as a head coach. I mean, he did win a couple of Super Bowls, but he struggled because he thought he knew everything. And so I think Kyle, he got the right pieces, he got the right coaches. I'm hoping Brandon Staley is that check and balance so that Kyle can just have that extra brain. You guys are creators, right? You could create on your own, right? But isn't it cool when you have a meeting and you bounce ideas off of one another and you be like, yeah, I was thinking that shit. No, we can do that. That's what Kyle needs. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm hoping that's the staff he has this year, because I don't think it's necessarily the players. I think the players continue to progress and get better. As far as Kyle Shanahan, dude is a genius. I just think he just sometimes he just overanalyzes things, and
he needs somebody just to tell him to shut up.
Shut up. Say it, but that's the word. Yo.
Who does? Nobody tells him. That's the problem.
You got a guy like Brandon Staley, who I think there's some type of level of respect. They kind of close in age, and so it ain't no pop or granddad in there. No disrespect. I'm just saying these guys may speak the same language, because who was cool. Like before Mike McDaniel got hired, I felt like Mike was the guy to tell Kyle to shut up. We ain't hear it. We wouldn't look at it that way. But I bet you Mike McDaniel said, Kyle, I'm running the run game. Leave me the F alone. We're going to run it here. This is what we're going to do. And that's what we're missing. And that is what I think. I know we don't want Brandon Staley on the offensive side, but I'm hoping Kyle allows somebody to just check, the T's and cross the T's and dot the I's. Like, you know what I mean? So if Kyle is open to do for something like that, I think we'll be just fine, because I think that's where it comes down to, because these players are really good, man. And sometimes we hold them back. Like Kyle holds them back. Like, and he's got to stop. He's got to let them rip.
I agree. Sometimes you just got to let players be the best roster in the league, and just go out there and just beat the other team into submission. And and the 49ers have had the best roster in the league for the last 2-3 seasons now. Yeah. And it just, to me, it makes no sense. I completely 100% agree with you. And we've been saying it for weeks and probably months on our show, that, Kyle just, hey, bro, we I understand, you want to show off your toy and Brock Purdy. He's a grown man and all, but I mean, you want to show him off, but at the end of the day, dog, if it's best to run the ball down this team's throat, how about we just do that and get through this game and get out of here with this dub?
One of the things that I like about Sean McVay, he has no problem playing a lot of the rookies, playing a lot of players, and Kyle has a thing with rookies.
sense, right? Like the totally different mindsets. Like Kyle has trust issues, and Sean McVay
Mhm.
is like, whatever happened. If it
Yep.
work, it work. If it don't work, we'll come back to the drawing board. That's the
Yeah.
difference. Like Kyle,
And I feel
only
like
way Kyle does that is if his back's against the wall, his players are hurt.
Yes.
He got to use the
Yes.
play.
yeah. I feel like
Mhm.
too, like you saw in the championship game against Detroit. I feel like Kyle there let Brock play and let him, yeah. And come Super Bowl, we were up 10 points, but he was very conservative with Brock, and we didn't see the same plays that were being made in the Lions game in the Super Bowl. So I mean, like what does it have to take to let have Kyle say like, okay, I'm gonna let my boys play. Like I can't keep doing this shit. I mean, I've already lost 3 fucking Super Bowls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At some point,
Well, he lost
at,
2, but
yeah, he lost. Well, you could say he lost the
Atlanta.
Super Bowl. People blame him on the Atlanta Super Bowl.
is that really on him though?
He's the
You got a
OC.
25.
It comes back to not running the ball. Run the
But-
ball.
But the defense gave how many points? I mean, the defense,
You're
the
100%
I
coordinator.
get it.
You're
But
100%
keep them
correct.
off the field with the run. They couldn't stop the run.
Well, to
Yeah.
be fair to Kyle, his running backs were hurt.
Yep.
And so who was his running backs? Freeman and Coleman. They were beat
Coleman.
up. And so Kyle had the MVP. So Kyle was thinking all the MVP got to do is dink and dunk and keep the short pass game, the bootleg options that we love, we don't see much of. He just thought that was, and on one of them plays, I can't remember the linebacker or the defensive end that intercepted the pass. That was the downfall. So yeah, the defense did play a factor, but I think the reason why the blame goes on Kyle is because he didn't blow the lead, but he couldn't couldn't add on to the lead. like you know what I mean? Like he couldn't give more. Like it would have been different if Kyle still was scoring.
Mhm.
Like the offense continued to score, but they couldn't run the ball anymore,
They
bro.
couldn't move the ball.
They couldn't move the ball. They couldn't.
That's the thing. They couldn't even move the ball and get some first down.
But we've seen that with Kyle and our two Super Bowls. We're up by 10, up by 11, up. We're just up. It don't matter. We're up.
But we blame Jimmy.
You were.
We blame Jimmy, and we blame
We
Well,
blame
it was Jimmy though.
whoever's in there.
we do blame the players. And the reason why we do it is because they don't execute the plays.
Exactly.
But the philosophy of the game is like, yo, Kyle, let me get away from Kyle. Let's go back to hardball. Let's go to hardball. We remember that Super Bowl too, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Why the fuck are you throwing the ball? Why are you throwing 4 fade routes at the 5-6 yard line, bro? Like
Yep. When you have Frank Gore, man.
what? To get to the one.
And you don't even like throwing the ball. You don't even like throwing the ball.
Just
Like
make it
Harbaugh
make
has one of the worst passing games of all time as a Niner.
Pete, make that make sense to me. I can't
Yeah.
get it. Why do the Niners choke in the Super Bowls? Like, why are we choking off the one thing that got us here?
Yep.
It's running the ball. Jim wanted to run the ball. Kyle wants to run the ball because it sets up the play action pass. You got these quarterbacks that are really good in play action pass, and we don't run the ball successfully. I don't care if Christian McCaffrey get blown up for a tackle for a loss. Rotate the damn running backs and run the ball. You can run outside zone. You can run inside. There's no reason to not run the ball. And it comes back and bites you in the butt.
Yep.
That's what happens. And that's what happened in our Super Bowls.
You got a healthy Elijah Mitchell. You have a healthy Jordan Mason. They can run between the tackles, and even though you're still trying to give it to McCaffrey, McCaffrey's great, but you got to move the ball with the other players. And that's one of the things that Keely Hills that I don't like about Kyle. Kyle's too damn stubborn. He wants to do it his way. I say this all the time. I like him as a coordinator, but the fact that he has to be a head coach to be the coordinator for the Niners, I'll take it. But I think he's better suited as a coordinator than he is as a head coach. He needs someone with authority to keep him in check. And right now he has all the hands on deck on control. So and Jed York is too sissy to say anything to him. Where do you think Jed York needs to step up and say, "Hey, enough is enough. You've been doing things your way, and it hasn't worked. You got to change some areas. You got to play these young players. Why even draft if you don't play these young kids?"
Jed York ain't saying nothing. Just so we know. Just so
Yeah,
we're
that's
clear,
true.
Jed York
Not
ain't
at
even
all.
saying nothing. He
Just
said,
doesn't-
"Please keep those checks coming, and
It's
like,
a
and
business
like,
for him.
please keep
I
filling
hear
those
you.
seats. Like, give me those two playoff games. Like that.
Fans
that
don't
was
realize that,
nice
Pete.
revenue.
For Jed, you're right. It's about the money, the revenue that is coming in. Yes, he wants to win a Super Bowl, of course. And he wants to win a Super Bowl because that more money comes in. But it's all a money factor. It's not like we are emotionally involved. He is involved because of the revenue that he keeps getting from all the fan bases and all the $20 beers they sell.
That whole stadium is expensive, and the only thing that should work
Yeah.
is the internet. That shit. At the end of the day, like I don't want Jed York in anything that has to do with football. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
but
Preach on it.
but I just feel like he trusts Kyle, he trusts John, and they gotta get over the hump. And so
That's it.
they're doing it though. Like listen,
Mhm.
I'm gonna give Kyle and John credit because look at what they did. They came in to this organization with a shitty roster and a bunch
Yeah.
of money they had to spend
Preach
on
it,
free,
bro.
right? And after year one, they got some high price free agents. Them they gone. The only one that's still here is Juice. Let's just keep it a buck.
Juiced.
They move on from some of the bulky picks. They traded DeForest Buckner and they started to try to build their own regime. They screw up their first year in the draft. Well, I wouldn't say they screwed up, but they didn't hit on the first round picks
No.
first year of the draft. But they did nail a couple of picks in 2017. They got at least one right. And then 2018, they got at least one right. And so like the Niners are they finally built the infrastructure on how to draft, right? Look at what they did. They're paying how many players in the top 51 like
Mhm.
that amount of money, right? They make the necessary trades when they need to. This is all GM. This is all from they're doing a good job. And
The
then they
culture.
right, and then they build the culture. And I
Yep.
think that's key. They bring in the right veterans to help these young kids. And so when we say why don't they play the young kids, it's because they don't have to play the young kids. They have the old kids still here. But
Yep.
they're hoping that these young kids see what the old kids are doing and like make the smooth transition when the older kids are out, or if an older kid gets injured, or you know what I'm saying, if they have to let an older kid
Mhm.
go do some cap relief or whatever. And that's when the young kids got to be ready to step up. But I think that they've starting to really understand how to scout, how to draft, all that stuff. And now that now that I go to these senior bowls and I talk, I really understand what the Niners were trying to do and what they're currently doing, and they are building they're working on building this legacy, and it starts with the QB, and so I think they got lucky on Brock, and now they're going to try to win a Super Bowl with Brock. He got what was this? This is his second to last year on his contract, right?
It's
Or
his
his next
third.
year?
So
He is third year.
next year, after next year, he'll be re-upped,
Thank
I think.
Got you.
Next
So
offseason, yeah.
yeah, next offseason. So now we're talking big money contracts. So the Niners, they have to get it done now as far as their Super Bowl because you're going to start to see a lot of them top tier guys go. But they know how to draft. So the way they draft is they're looking for kind of similar traits to the guys they already have, and so that's just plug and play for Kyle Shanahan's system. And so we just got to kind of we could talk our trash, we can criticize them. At the end of the day, we just got to kind of sit back, kick off our shoes and just relax and just wait to see it come to fruition. Because I know a lot of us want certain things done. I think they can upgrade on the offensive line, but now I'm going to trust them to do it in the draft. They ain't did it before. They never done it before. I'm going to trust them to do it now. This is the year of the offensive line, and this draft right here, offensive line, 100%. They can
I
literally
hope so.
update.
I hope so too.
They got to pick the
I
right
hope so.
players, man. That's what it comes down to. They got to get their right players. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll
I
see
hope
what
they
happens.
don't wait. I hope they don't wait till the 4th and 5th round like they did getting Burford and Nick Sakel. Like
See, at that point, did they really need to address the offensive line at that point? See that, and that
we
like,
needed a center. That's what we were looking for at that time.
you know what the Niners don't do? They
Tell
won't draft.
him. Tell him.
Yeah.
They won't. They wait for that center to be available. I'm gonna tell you that the bad news that I got today from Connor Williams, man, I almost cried because if there was not a 49ers center, there's not a free agent center out there that had 49ers written on him, and it was him. And unfortunately, he's contemplating retirement
Mm.
because of the severity of the knee injury of the ACL that he
Oh
suffered
wow.
last season with the Dolphins. So
Damn.
it just sucks. But that's what they do. That's what Kyle Shanahan does. It's a specific type for the center position for Kyle, and so you got to be athletic, you got to be mobile, it's certain traits, man. You know, I don't think they're going to draft the center, but if Jackson Powers Johnson is available, I'm hoping John Lynch is listening to this show and he's sitting there at 31 because no one wants a center. Please draft him. You will be happy for the next 15 years. Like I promise you. Like it's an ugly pick. It ain't sexy. He's the best offensive lineman in this draft. Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon. If they could get him, we will be set at
I've
that
been hearing
position.
about him. I've been hearing he's pretty
Yeah.
good. What is it? Why is it with Kyle and John? They put all that money, they put all that resources into that defensive front line, but they just get players they can scheme wise offensively on offense. I understand it's all about the scheme that Kyle puts out there, but if you can protect Brock Purdy, if you can give him a little bit longer, I mean, the kid can play under pressure. We've seen that. We like that about Brock Purdy, but you still got to be able to protect him, give an opportunity to do what he does best. Why is it that they put all that money in the front of the defense, but not so much other than Trent Williams offensively? I don't understand that.
I just think I think offensive linemen are a premium in the NFL now, and there's just not a lot of great offensive linemen out there. And when you look at it, Kyle prioritizes the run game, and you being able to run block like
It's
more
important, yeah.
than he prioritizes the pass blocking. Because he feels like if you can just execute and get in position and put up enough, just give the guy a couple of seconds for his guy to get open. Like that's all he needs. He doesn't need you to hold up in protection for 2 and 3 seconds. And that's the way Kyle looks at it. Yeah, I feel that's what I see from him. But
Nail on
I just look at Kyle and I love Kyle to death. I think Kyle is the coach for this team. I think that he can absolutely be the coach for for years and years and years of this squad. I love the culture that him and John Lynch have built. I just want to see him get over the hump because I know once he gets over it, it's over for the league. Once he figures it out that he can trust those guys and that he can just let go, like Breezie said, let go a little bit and just trust in the fact that he's got the best team on the field. Then that it's a wrap. It's a wrap, in my opinion. But yeah, I'd love to see them go out and get O linemen. I just know that the 49ers don't ever draft the way we want them to draft. So
Yeah. Or you're not
seriously.
surprised.
I honestly like as much as we want an O lineman, especially at 31.
he's gonna get a running back.
I don't think any of us will be surprised that we're gonna get a defensive tackle or DN.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just what it is.
Yeah.
It's what it is. But
Breezy, real quick. I know we're a month and a half away from the Super Bowl now, but I kind of wanted to get your thought on: do you feel like the Niners they didn't like lose that game? They gave that game away. Do you feel like that?
Yeah. I don't like to discredit the other teams, but my mantra last year is the only way we lose is if we beat ourselves.
Yeah.
So take that however you want it. Like, you know what I mean?
a muffed punt, a fumble
I'm just
in the
taking how
red
you,
zone,
I'm just
like all
saying.
these other things. That sounds to me like we gave it away.
Yeah,
That was
But
hard, Brad. When the ball hit, what's the name?
because
The two in the backward, Luder, whatever his name is. That was, man, my heart just came out of my chest. They have not scored at all. They were not even moving the ball until that point. Talk about a
can we not
Niners
relive
can't
it?
catch a down break.
no, we will relive
About
it.
free
But
agency.
I just
Can we
wanted to
talk
get
about free
Breezy's
agency?
thoughts on that.
Not breaks, man. Freaking, how many times did they turn over the ball? The Chiefs only lost it once. That's ridiculous. In the playoffs,
Were you-
they turned
were
it
you
over
at
8
the-
times and then
were
they
you there,
didn't lose it
Breezy?
once.
I was in
Did you
Vegas.
go?
I didn't attend the game, but I was out there in Vegas. Yeah, it was. I I can't explain it. I can't explain the football game. I just it was too good. It was too good to be true for 3.5 quarters, and it's like they lost almost like the identical way. Like it's just
In 2019, for
it's
3 quarters, we're all fired up.
Yeah,
right.
for real. I
Yo,
think I think I think it went I think it went downhill as soon as Greenlaw got hurt. I think that's what happened too.
the whole energy shifted, right?
Yeah.
Kelsey
And
wasn't doing much until
nah,
he got
man,
hurt.
it's funny because I put out a tweet and I said something about I can't remember what it was, but it had to do with Greenlaw playing in this game. And the reason why I brought that up is because when Kansas City came to San Francisco, that was Christian McCaffrey's first game.
Mhm.
Kansas City couldn't do what they wanted to do until Greenlaw got hurt. I don't know if you remember that game,
Yep.
but Greenlaw leaves
Yeah.
that game with an injury, and next thing you know, the middle of the field kind of like opens up those
Mhm.
Travis Kelsey routes, and they kind of blow us out of the box. Like we ended up losing players. So like that's how much of a factor, how great of a player, how much of an impact Dre Greenlaw is on the 49ers defense, and we're wishing him
Yeah.
a speedy recovery too. He need to get his ass healthy ASAP. Like
Please.
Sir.
ASAP.
Yeah. Yeah. The guys need, I mean, I love Fred Warner. I love what he does in the middle, but people don't realize, like you said, Breezy, how important Greenlaw is and what he does for this defense for us.
For real.
Needs to get healthy. Prayers and best wishes for him. Real quick, the gentleman that we picked up from the Packers,
Oh,
Devontae Campbell.
compared to Mr. I don't want to play for the Niners and went to the Dallas Kendricks. Between those two guys, who, without our feelings in, what do you guys thought? Which do you think would be the better player in this scheme? Kendricks would have been, or the guy that we picked up?
Well, I mean, at first it was Kendricks, right? Like he's still tackling at a high level. We struggled with missed tackles last year, so at least we knew he could do that. He could blitz on the line.
True that.
He's pretty decent in coverage still, even though he's an older player. But I'm going with Campbell. Like I think this guy's gonna play with a chip on his shoulder the whole season. And good luck to whoever he's going to hit this year. There's something wrong with him and the communication in Green Bay. And you couldn't show me another player that didn't want to be there. That people forget that when players don't want to play in a place, they play differently. Like
Yeah.
their body language is different, their performance is different, and they waiting to get the hell out of there. Like,
Yeah.
like you gonna cut me, right? Like do what you gotta do so I could go play football. I can tell he still wants to play football. You saw it on his face on signing day. That guy's got a chip on his shoulder. And if we play the Packers this year, good luck. Because that guy is coming. I can tell you that right now. And it's a good piece, too, because he's not just a stopgap guy for Dre Greenlaw to get healthy, man. The Niners have the ability to run 3 linebackers out there on the field like we used to see, even in nickel package, like without a regular nickel back out there with the coverage skills of a Dre Greenlaw or whatever. So I'm excited to see what the Niners do. But they get another tackling machine, man. He's a former All-Pro. So he has the ability to get back to All-Pro if he's going to be playing on an All-Pro defense. I'm excited to see what Devontae Campbell is going to be able to do.
Yep. We come down to that hour, guys. But before we go, I want to ask this question. Mike Silver, he's kind of been writing, kind of hitting everything that has been taking place this offseason. he said that he feels that there's still a big move that needs to be done by the Niners. Do you think that we're done with the big moves? Do you think there's still a big move, maybe a possible trade that might kind of surprise us, get us by surprise? Or do you think anybody they add is just going to be smaller pieces for depth? Or do you think they just might get that missing piece like Sartan from the Denver Broncos to pair up next to Ward? What are you guys' thoughts? And then we'll close it with that. We'll always start with you, Breezy.
Man, they didn't make the big splash in free agency. But I don't think they needed to, because when you look at this team, you just needed to replenish some of the spots, and you're trying to upgrade the players, the spots that you lost with the players that left in free agency. So, look, I don't know if Denver is open to trading to Patrick Surtain, but I bet you John Lynch on that damn phone. Like, you know what I'm saying? So they're on the phone. But I don't know if you see a big trade, because now you're talking about giving up first round picks, and I don't know if the Niners want to do that. Not when they know that they're going to need offensive linemen and defensive line. They need players. So I don't know if they want to give up some first round picks just to shore up that back end. And Patrick Surtain is the man, but you could sign Justin Simmons and still have the man. Like he's the man too. So why not just pay the free agent guy? So maybe that's the big move. So I don't know what they want to do. All I know is I like the corners. I think the corners are going to be fine. I think they add. I like the new acquisition of Yadam. Oh, I can't wait to see him play. He's like
him.
I like him. He's a developed looter. So if Luter ever develops in the 49ers defense, that's what you're going to get from Luter. He's that type of a defender. So I can't wait to see what he does. But I think the Niners are done making these big moves. I think the only thing they'll do is probably sign another or a couple of other free agents. I think they're going to really try to hit this draft. Now, remember, some players aren't going to get signed in free agency right now. And so keep your ears open. The Niners are freeing up money. And if the Niners are struggling in an area, the one thing we know John Lynch is going to do is do some type of in-season trade. So there's always fireworks with the San Francisco 49ers. So it doesn't have to be right now, but there's always going to be a big bang happening at some point.
What about you guys? You guys want to add anything, Brandon or Pete, before we shut it down?
Just real quick, I thought it might have been possibly Khalil Mack. If anything, it was a long shot for Joey Bosa. If that stuff didn't happen with the Chargers, but I know a lot of people wanted the Bosa brothers together, but I didn't think it was going to happen just because he's injury prone, and I think he's going to cost a lot of money as well. But
I don't know if they wanted to play together, though. I know a lot of people would like him to play together, especially their mama. But I don't know if they wanted to play together, because they all want to do their own thing. I don't know. It would have been nice, but it's like.
But also, Khalil Mack was kind of up in the air too. A lot of people were saying,
he wasn't going anywhere. Harbaugh loves players like that.
Yeah,
because Chargers needed to clear up hell cap room themselves, so that's why those two were one of the big, products that if they were going to keep them or not.
Yeah, they restructured though, right?
Yeah, they restructured. Both of them did.
Yeah, so
they got rid of Mike. They got rid of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams.
They got rid of So I mean, they're probably going to get rid of a couple of other guys that are probably making money that shouldn't be making money. But I don't know. I look at this year, and I think that I don't know that. I know that everybody was really kind of praising Mike Silver. I don't think he got anything out of the box, right. There was no big, huge move made. I know we're not sitting there saying Leonard Floyd is a huge splash move. I think he is a good piece for the 49ers, but I don't think that that's a huge splash move, in my opinion.
I think they were questioning his thoughts on the Eric Armstead being the big move that they were going to, But if there's asses you kiss very well in the organization, you're going to get information. So
yeah,
they would have kept Eric if he took the pay cut.
Yeah,
You don't want to take the pay
that's
cut.
my thing is they would have kept him if he would have taken the pay cut.
I don't
I
blame
don't think
him
that was
though.
a big splash move that he was talking about. I think that he was trying to throw something out there, thinking that it was going to happen,
Throw
and it
anything
didn't
against the
happen.
wall, see if it sticks.
And exactly, and then if it doesn't happen, you know how the fans go. Like they're going to forget that he said it. Like 2 weeks down the road. So like
Yep.
the media
Exactly.
does that all the time, but.
Yep.
I just look at it the rest of this offseason. I don't think they're going to add anything huge. I just can't see it. I think that they're going to save some of that money. I think that they made that cap space last season to flip over to this season so that they could pay the main guys that they needed to pay. They
Exactly.
brought in a bunch of depth pieces, which I thought is exactly what they needed. I love the Yadam signing. I loved the Leonard Floyd signing. I loved the guy from the Texans. I can't remember his name right now, but I love that signing as well. And I think that if they can go into this draft with the thought process that, hey, this is a draft that we need to get the best players available and start building around those best players available because our guys are getting older. We're now the oldest team in the league. And yeah, just go into the draft with that mindset. I think that's what they did with this free agency period. They set themselves up to be able to do that. And I think the 49er fans could be a little bit disappointed in the draft because I know we all want offensive linemen. I'm just not confident that the 49ers are ever going to do what we want them to do. so yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I think they did what they needed to do in free agency. So
Cool. Before we go, when Breezy, anything you got going on your channel, bro? Let everybody know how they can find you. For those that don't, know who you are or what you do, let them know, and what you got going on this week, brother. Everybody and their mama should know who you are, but just in case.
Look, so I do my weekly shows, the Wayne Breezy Show, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and that's at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then there's the BAM Show, the Breezy and Mike Show. That's daily, every day, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then there'll be some other specialty shows. I mean, it's the off season, so kind of gonna take a little break or whatever, and do some features, bring some people on, get some of you guys on the show so we can talk Niners. Even though we got that time difference, we'll figure that out. But yeah, man, that's what we're doing. Just go to at the Wayne Breezy, whether it's on YouTube, the X, doesn't matter. It's at the Wayne Breezy. Had to put the in there, try to brand the name. But I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you guys for having me on, Beto, and I appreciate this.
We definitely appreciate you, bro, and everything you do. Brandon, what do you got on your channel? And then we'll finish it off with Mr. Pete.
Nothing as of now. Trying to talk to the guys, see if they
¿Cómo que
if they wanna-
chingados nothing? What do you mean nothing?
It's nothing, mijo. What do you want? Until next Tuesday, and when we're back here for the Boyz podcast, I'm trying to get Christian and Dion and Anshul to try to get back on it and talk some football, but we'll see. I don't know, but we'll be back here again next Tuesday.
well, so Niner Fanatic podcast will be on this Thursday for sure. Whether it's just me or not, but y'all get used to this face. And but I will be on at 6:30 Pacific time. I always say Pacific time, even though I'm Central, but regardless, Pacific time. Make sure that you tell a friend to tell a friend so we can be friends every day, every week. And as well as, I'm on YouTube. I am on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I am on anywhere where you can get, even if you don't like looking at my face, you can always catch the audio version. So I don't care where you get it, just get it.
Yeah,
Dang,
me too.
All your things are popping up over your head, bro.
Woo,
You're
look at
thinking
that.
them, and they're popping up.
Get mine too. Get mine real quick. Get
So
mine real quick.
repeat your question again there, Brandon. Let me show you just your one channel. Just kidding.
What do you mean my one channel? I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on X.
Kidding.
I'm
They're
on
all
You gotta
up
make
there.
it
They're all
flow.
up
You gotta
there.
make it flow.
I got the whole 9 yards. Okay, so make sure you guys go hit that follow button. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube for Faithful Podcast. Twitter is FFPod49. TikTok for FF Podcast, Facebook and Instagram. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe button. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so please hit that sub, and we'll try to do a giveaway. Me and Beto will get together and figure something out. He can help me out. But yeah, for that.
Hell yeah! That's what I'm talking about.
Brandon.
Oh yeah, and if you don't want to look at this mug either, we're also on audio portion, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you want to listen.
Isn't that
to
where you
on
have
your
your
way
most
to work, on
following?
your way home, whatever. We're there.
Isn't that when you have your most following on the podcast?
You know, I'm just about had it.
I'm kidding. You know I love you. Wayne Breezie, once again, bro, thank you for accepting Brandon's invitation to come to our channel. Much love and respect for you. I love what you and Mike do over there. I don't comment much, but I definitely, if I don't watch it live, I'm always catching it on the replay. I stay up all night. You know, I'm retired, so I sleep during the day. And at night, I'm watching you and Mike go at it and do your thing. And I love how you guys bring the energy, man. Mike can definitely, if you're down, Mike can get you going, bro. I seen it as like, Mike, but I'm telling you. And he pushes it, but you guys make an awesome team. Thank you guys for what you do. Thank you for stopping by, brother. Truly appreciate it.
We appreciate it, Wayne.
Yeah, and we want to just say thank you to the all-stars of the show, is everyone in the comments. The MVPs of the show is everyone in the comments. You guys deserve all the praise. Because without you, we're just talking amongst ourselves. You guys is what makes the show. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for those that came to support Wayne Breezie. Thank you for stopping by. Love you guys. Have a wonderful evening. And remember, we come on every Tuesday at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time here on YouTube and every channel that you follow us on. Go ahead, Brandon. Send us out.
All right. With that being said, cheers to the off season. We're almost to draft time, and until next time, guys, go Niners.
Go Niners. Bang, bang, Niner gang.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,